is that DC regulators and Wall Street, they're in cahoots. They lied to the courts. It was all part of the Hope image. Asset seizure order. Such an insane amount of money has poured into Bitcoin and the crypto world. I'm a forever optimist. Welcome back, guys. So since inception, a lot of people have seen crypto, or specifically Bitcoin, as hope. Hope in terms of currency, hope against manipulation, and of course inflation. But when you have the perfect combination of Wall Street and DC essentially ruling over that sector, all this just becomes a game. But anyways, none of this crypto is a threat to the US dollar. They will just get absorbed into the system. Absorbed, controlled, etc., etc. So back in April of 2021, the current administration appointed former Goldman Sachs guy, Gary Gensler, to be the head of the SEC. A commodities and security expert and of course former MIT professor, teaching classes on blockchain, crypto, and of course speaking a good game of Bitcoin. So when he became the head of SEC, a lot of people thought, hey, this is the green light needed in the US for the crypto sphere to move forward. It was all part of the Hope image. But instead, what happened was a perfect enabling of cronyism between the cryptosphere, Wall Street, and DC. And now, a few days ago, a federal judge scolded the SEC and Gary Gensler as the boss for basically lying to the courts. And why did they lie to the courts? Well, they were trying to freeze assets. They were trying to get restraining orders and asset seizures against a crypto firm where the federal judge said that the lawyers specifically working for the SEC made materially false and misleading representations, meaning they lied to the courts. They lied to the judge. So of course the worst part is none of these lying clowns will get prosecuted or disbarred. Now if you or I did that, we would be super. So the whole case with the SEC was against a crypto firm based out of Utah called Digital Licensing, or Debt Box. So the SEC claimed that this crypto company was defrauding investors out of $50 million. They claimed that all this was taking place because they were selling unregistered securities called node licenses. Now I get it, a lot of people think the crypto world is full of scammers, liars, and thieves, and there might be a lot of them in there. I understand that. This has to do with the SEC lawyers lying to the courts, to the judge, to seize assets. That's the key point here. So the SEC lawyers used something called an ex parte application, which allowed them to successfully obtain a temporary restraining order and asset seizure order. Now here's where it gets a little dark. This ex parte application process allowed the SEC to investigate this firm, where the firm itself was not even aware of the investigations. On top of that, they're not legally allowed to challenge anything in court. Ex parte application. So obviously extremely one-sided, but this is allowed so that government agencies can spring into action if they think that notifying defendants, notifying the people that are getting investigated, if the agency thinks that they're going to move assets overseas, or if they're going to destroy evidence. So it's a very powerful move and of course kind of extreme. So this particular case with the SEC and a crypto firm, which of course is an up and coming industry, whether we like it or not. There's so many people in the crypto world and the crypto channels that think Bitcoin or crypto is outside the scope of regulators and outside the scope of control by big money institutions. And that is so not true. So this past Thursday, District Federal Judge Shelby explained that he actually granted the restraining order and the asset seizure order because the SEC agency lawyer lied, where the SEC lawyer named Michael Welsh claimed that the crypto company was actively closing accounts of customers, had told the court that 33 accounts by the crypto firm had been closed within a 48-hour window, saying that this was all part of a move by the firm to move operations to Abu Dhabi, that if this is successful, that the crypto firm would be beyond the scope of reach by the US regulators. Apparently, that was all a lie. Judge Shelby said SEC's arguments were entirely without merit and misstate the record, where the court's legal proceedings revealed that no accounts had been closed within any 48-hour period, that in fact a few bank accounts had been closed, but it wasn't done by the crypto firm, as the SEC had claimed. Furthermore, the judge was appalled because it wasn't just this one lawyer, Michael Welsh. There were other SEC lawyers present while Michael Welsh was making the arguments and staffers working for the SEC. None of them clarified or corrected the attorney's statements, nor were any of these incorrections addressed at all in subsequent filings, which means that the judge and the court themselves within the legal proceedings found out about the lies from the SEC. Furthermore, the SEC complained that the company was blocking their access, for example, to social media sites or other ongoing investigations, where the judge chimed in saying the company itself was not even aware of investigations. Therefore, they could not consciously block the SEC from anything. They were not even aware that they were being looked at. Anyways, Judge Shelby concluded that the SEC possibly deceived the court in its description of the facts used to justify the orders in terms of asset seizures and restraining order, where he said they were all granted because of relentless pursuit by the SEC because they claimed this company was trying to move assets. All lies and illegal. They're not allowed to do such things. Of course, with the FTX crypto drama, there was never any pursuit of anyone. Cronyism at its finest. This case taking place in a federal Utah court, Judge Shelby now filed an order, a demand that the SEC provide reasons why the Utah court should not punish the agency itself for behavior, for lying to the courts, for lying to the judge. And apparently these orders are extremely rare, almost never happens to any kind of government agency. So it's kind of surprising. So this ex parte application that the judge approved, this allowing the asset seizures and the temporary restraining order, this upset the judge because, of course, a defendant, someone accused, has no idea they're being investigated. On top of that, has no way of challenging the process or the orders, which is huge, which is ripe for exploitation, of course, which is a massive legal dilemma. So the judge is essentially pissed off, essentially deprive anyone accused of due process, which is absolutely true. It makes sense. With the judge saying that he's concerned that the SEC itself as an agency, not just the lawyers that lied, the SEC itself undermined legal proceedings. So of course, with Sam Bankman-Fried thrown in jail, the golden child of the crypto world that was apparently untouchable, everyone else can now be crushed or absorbed by the system itself, which, well, it's not surprising. So the SEC pursued everyone, Coinbase crypto exchange, Binance. Now the Binance one is funny because it's the world's largest, serving the whole wide world. And now the company is going to have an insider working for the US, watching over the whole company that services the whole world, every corner of the planet, which in one respect is great to curb activity. In another respect, it also highlights the amazing power of the US regulatory reach. And of course, same example of the reach of the power you can see with Binance CEO, Changpeng Zhao. Now, some people have this crazy idea that the US can't touch crypto. That's just absolutely false. So if BlackRock's ETF gets approved, and with the US having someone inside of Binance, essentially the world's biggest crypto market, that is a nice combination of Washington and Wall Street having such a powerful grip on the crypto market on a global scale. So of course the US dollar being the world's reserve currency, mix that in with DC and Washington controlling the crypto market, that is a massive amount of power. What this demonstrates, and maybe I think proves, is that DC regulators and Wall Street, they're in cahoots, essentially over controlling a new sector. The house always wins, and this kind of proves it. So Bitcoin is ripping, and pointing straight to the sky, straight to the moon. Well, of course, the big suspicion is that BlackRock's ETF application will be approved in January, so tons and tons of money is pouring in. Such an insane amount of money has poured into Bitcoin and the crypto world that actually the market cap for Bitcoin has surpassed Meta, Facebook, and Berkshire Hathaway. Check out these charts. It is now in the top 10 in terms of asset market cap, just behind silver and Nvidia. So it's currently sitting at number 9, but if the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock, if their ETF gets approved, it's likely to skyrocket even higher. Now, of course, Wall Street and Washington, well, they want to control this stuff as much as possible. And if BlackRock's ETF gets approved, well, they might just do that. It kind of puts those same financial forces in control of the crypto world / Bitcoin. So BlackRock with a Bitcoin ETF coming in early January between the 5th and the 10th. So it's a very interesting time, and it's a time of transition. It's all part of the game, for better or worse. Just a matter of if you want to go in and play in the casino. So if that BlackRock ETF is approved, Bitcoin is going to rip. But the same market forces in the stock market and Washington and of course Wall Street, they're all involved. So very interesting times. I certainly don't see the government outlawing Bitcoin or crypto at all, but they can certainly make it extremely impractical and also extremely expensive. So in the end, it's all just a game. It's just a matter of if you want to play. This chart is actually very interesting. So Apple number 2 and gold number 1 at $13.6 trillion market cap. What's interesting is that a bunch of banks throughout the years have been sued and fined for manipulating precious metal prices. And what happens to these companies? Well, they just get fined and the day goes on. Says a lot, doesn't it? These guys are international pros. And as soon as somebody beat them, like that GameStop guy, they brought him in for questioning. That's how much power these bigwig guys have. But there really is so much money manipulation. It's crazy, wild. And the IRS just released a report today detailing tax and financial crimes equaling over $37 billion. $37.1 billion to be exact, identified as tax and financial crimes. And the crazy part is this is just for 2023. Wow. That's an astonishingly large sum of money. The IRS Criminal Investigation Initiative, they cited over 2,600 investigations focused on tax fraud, money laundering, and cybercrimes. And get this, they had an 88.4 conviction rate. So nearly 9 out of 10 led to convictions from prosecution. So these enforcement actions between October of 2022 up until September the 30th of 2023, where the agency cited using data analytics obtained using the Bank Secrecy Act. All the banks have to keep data on your transactions. I'm a forever optimist. There's too much beauty in the world to focus on scammers, liars, and thieves, especially the ones handling all the money. All right, guys, well, I'll leave it here. Always great spending time with you. Please don't forget to smash the like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.